all liars. Seeking submissions for Madame Yeva. Madame Yeva is 40 to 60 years old, Armenian or Russian. Madame Yeva is an obese woman with many medical problems. This was sent to me in an email marked projects that match your profile. For those of you who are dragged here by a friend or loved one and have no idea what you're doing here, welcome to Cast and Loose Live. This evening we will revel in some of the greatest casting atrocities I've found in the last few months, as seen on my Tumblr, Cast and Loose. And I cannot stress enough that the breakdowns you will hear tonight were written by me. They were not written by me. They are all absolutely real casting notices I have found on various casting websites. And I stress this because you may become incredulous at some point, but you have my word. And who am I? I am Lynne Marie Rosenberg. Could have used a little more editing on the photo when it's that big, I guess. A little Chacney going on. I am Lynne Marie Rosenberg. I am Caucasian. I am 5'2". I am 33, but I look 27 and I sound 45. I am too stocky to play the girl next door and too thin to play the fat best friend. I am Jewish, but not Jewish enough to play Jewish. I am Irish, but not Irish enough to play Irish. I am sexy, but not sexy enough to play Latina. Ramon, I'm sorry. To help me this evening, I am joined by some extremely talented friends from the New York theater scene, stars of the New York theater scene. First, behind me, we have Jersey Jung and Michael Askin, who you may know as the musical collaboration Wonderlands, which you can find on Spotify, or you may know them as individual people with their own unique qualities, which you can also find on Spotify. Next, we have Nick Westrate. Nick Westrate, you may know from the off-Broadway run of Tribes, or you may know him from looking obnoxiously gorgeous in a skirt and pearls in Broadway's Casa Valentina. I still wish you wore the skirt tonight. Ching Valdes-aran, you may have seen in Across the Universe and the Sex and the City movie, or you may have seen her in just about anything else that has shot or performed in New York City ever. Greg Hildreth, you may know from Peter and the Starcatcher and Cinderella, or if you are a fan of the 52nd Street Project, you may have seen him in his dramatic portrayal of a grumpy, farting light fixture. Lauren Blumenfeld, you may have seen in the assembled parties on Broadway, or you may have seen her in all of my favorite New York Lottery, Time Warner Cable, and Gerber commercials. Emilio Delgado, you may know as Luis from Sesame Street. Or you may have been hiding under a rock for the last 40-some-odd years. And Amber Gray, you might know from the hit immersive production Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812. But I know her from Mr. Kelly's 6th grade math class at Wayland Middle School. And what we all have in common is every day we wake up and we have to figure out how to fit ourselves into that day's worth of auditions. We all know our type.
Sarcastic, offbeat white male, possibly bipolar.
Korean woman, 50s, madam of an underground massage parlor.
Character man, decent singer, can move well, comic chops a plus.
Sunny but emotionally needy arsonist.
Handsome, 50 plus, sophisticated Latin lover. No gold teeth.
Ethnically ambiguous.
Or
Psychotic white male, Ivy League grad, could be gay.
Vietnamese woman owns a laundromat with her husband. Take her job seriously.
30-something, schlubby best friend, unemployed, lives in his own filth.
The love child of Shelley Duvall and a Muppet.
Which Muppet is? No. Cartel drug lord.
A poor man's Claire Huxtable.
that was real. She really got sent out for that.
I didn't get it.
So we know our types. But maybe you've come here not knowing your type. At Cast and Loose, we're here to help. First, of course, easily enough, we'll figure out your age.
Elderly woman older than 50.
Edward, mid to late 30s, is an aging professional.
Elderly woman, age 45 plus. Comfortable with awkward situations.
Like the awkward situation when 45 is elderly. Maybe you're upset about your age.
Male, age 31 to 41. Experiencing a quarter life crisis.
Because you realized you're going to live to 124 to 164. Or maybe you're just downright confused.
Jessica, female, any ethnicity. Jessica is Emma's mom and is just Emma plus 10 years.
To be clear, this means that Jessica had Emma when she was 10. Or maybe you can portray a wide range of ages, really encompass the full spectrum of life.
Synopsis: the story of a young girl, Allison, told in 3 moments. Her early 20s, her mid-20s, and her late 20s. Coming together to show the transformation of her identity and relationships.
Yeah, talk to me when you're 30, poodle. So once we've established your age, it's important to establish your race. You could be a Latino male.
Seeking older desperado. Sleazy Mexican. Not gangbanger.
Or a Latina female.
Isabel, Hispanic female. Isabel is one of the beauticians in the beauty salon. She is a big gossip, incredibly sassy, and dripping with Latin flavor.
So like adobo? Occasionally, you can be Asian.
Seeking 20, 30s, an Asian woman who doesn't have the hard features of most other Asian females. She is more elegant and sophisticated and knows it.
And sometimes you're even in high demand.
We are desperate for real Japanese people to play doctors and patients.
They have been trying to make do with action figures and imaginary friends, but it is just not cutting it. So there's space for all ethnicities in the casting world.
This production supports diversity casting, and unless otherwise indicated, we strongly encourage actors of all ethnicities to apply.
It's a lovely sentiment, except that every character breakdown in this particular listing indicated actors should either be Latino, Caucasian, or Asian. But don't worry, there are still plenty of other roles if you're not one of those three, like
Tribal elder, the stoic leader of the Indians, a biker gang at constant war with the conquerors.
African American. A non-magical Negro. The satirical guide through the fair.
Leroy, African American, a young LeVar Burton at heart, aware he's the token black friend, but totally cool with it.
We'll see you next time on Reading Racism. There are plenty of opportunities for black women as well.
Autumn, African American girl. Determined, thoughtful, a little sassy.
Officer Monique, African American, a beautiful and sassy cop.
Schoolmates number 1, female, African American, Catherine's sassy college friend.
Louise, African American, a fun-loving, sassy woman who has probably been arrested for partying a time or two.
Iris Sanders, a heavy-set African American woman. She is the opposite of a delicate flower.
Yeah, but is she sassy? Don't worry, white guys. There's plenty for you to do too. Sometimes you can even play a different ethnicity than your own.
The story is about Mitch, a white man. Mitch's body is hijacked and taken over by a young, thuggish black man, Jamal, who will be played by the same actor playing Mitch. Once Mitch, Jamal, realizes he's in a Lamborghini, his excitement causes him to joyride and have the greatest day and night of his life. Unfortunately for Mitch, it turns out to be a terrible day.
Now, believe it or not, there are a fair amount of roles written for Caucasians.
Actress, 20s, beautiful with strong acting chops, Caucasian only.
Chelsea, a sweet, innocent type, Caucasian only.
Frenchman, a French actor dude in his mid-30s, Caucasian only.
Just for fun, let's hear those again with one small change.
Actress, 20, beautiful with strong acting chops, whites only.
Chelsea, a sweet, innocent type, whites only.
Frenchman, a French actor dude in his mid-30s, white only.
It's different that way somehow. Now, before we continue with our type workshop,
Featured extra with a kitten, please only reply if you have a small kitten.
I'm sorry, you guys. Every now and then I get these emails in my inbox in all capital letters with some ridiculous request. I'm really sorry about that. Hopefully it won't happen again. So, as I was saying, before we continue, I'd love to take a break and hear some casting stories from my guests tonight. Now, I know Nick has a story he is itching to tell.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, I think you should
Okay, I'll start. I'll try to make this brief because this is one of my longer party pieces. But I'm in LA for my first pilot season right out of drama school, and I get an audition for a pilot for a show, which will remain nameless, about young EMTs. Young EMTs, it's like Scrubs meets ER meets Freaks and Geeks. And so there are 6 scenes to do, 4 of which have tasks to do in an audition that make you want to kill yourself. One of these tasks is, what's the first task? Oh, I'm in the back of the ambulance being thrown around in the back, unseatbelted, in the back of the ambulance. The next task in the next scene, one of the scenes, scene 3, is changing a tire on a car. Scene 5, I'm giving a pap smear to a prostitute on the hood of said car with flat tire. And scene 6 of 6, I'm shot by a crossbow. And so I get together with some of the funniest actors I know in LA, like improv, like guys, like really, like I don't do that stuff. I've never done like UCB. I don't have those skills. So I get together with these guys. I'm like, how do I do this? Like in a chair, and like at Warner Brothers or like, somewhere, wherever it was. and we just work up the most bang up audition, right? So there are the 2 regular scenes and the 4 scenes, all this stuff. So I get to the audition in one of these little like bungalow things, and the first to go, first up, and it says on the board, we will only be doing scenes 1, 2, and 6. So that cuts out the scene with the ambulance, cuts out the scene with the pap smear, cuts out the scene with the changing the tire, just the crossbow. And I'm like, I got this, guys, I got it. So I go in, casting director, producers, executives, all these people. I'm really excited. I'm like, 22 years old. It was last year. And we do the first 2 scenes. They're laughing, they're loving me. We get to the last scene, the crossbow scene, and the moment comes, and I just get hit by the crossbow, and I throw myself back into the back of the room and like land on the floor. Everyone from the table jumps up and they're like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I got shot by the crossbow." And they go, "Crossbow? Where's the..." They had no clue that in the draft they had given me the man was shot by a crossbow. Like escaped it somewhere along the LA route of development, just escaped everyone.
Oh, God.
And so as I'm leaving the audition room, the casting director walks over to that sign that says we will be doing scenes 1, 2, and 6, and takes a big black marker and goes, "On scene 6. It happened.
That is amazing. So part of the reason that I wanted to do the show and I've been doing this vlog at all is that I realized that not only my friends who are actors are enjoying this show, but enjoying this vlog, but that people who have nothing to do with the business have gotten really into it because they're like, "You guys go through this? This is what you deal with?" And Amber, I wonder if you could tell us a story about after the casting process, once you're in the rehearsal world, what can possibly happen to you?
Well, I did a little play called Lady Windermere's Fan out at a pretty famous summer stock in the Berkshires, which is jokingly called Summer Camp to the Stars. And I was a non-union actor at the time. I had to go in 4 times for this tiny part because they weren't sure if I would look right with everyone else. That's what was said to me. So on the 10-minute breaks, Lady Windermere's Fan, Oscar Wilde, Victorian women, right? On the 10-minute breaks, I would get yelled at and be told I'd have to get in the shade because Victorian women weren't tan. I'm like, "You chose to cast me, and you know that I'm half black, right?" And then, at the time, my hair was sort of blondish. There's a reference to Lady Plymdale having straw-colored hair. And we teched, and we were about to open, and the day before we opened, there was a note on the call board that said, "Emergency, Amber Gray to the costume shop." So I go, and they're like, "We have to fit you for a wig." I open the next day, right? Like, no practice in the wig, nothing. I'm the only person wearing a wig. I was like, "Why?" They're like, "Well, because you have straw-colored hair." I'm like, "My hair is blonde." They were like, "We need to deal with the texture." I'm like, "Great, as long as we're all being open and honest about this." Great. So yeah, that can happen.
And Emilio, I wonder, and I don't know if you have funny anecdotes about this, but I wonder what your casting process was like for Sesame Street years ago, because at the time, we didn't see a lot of Latino men on television, no?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, that's why they went out to Los Angeles, because that's where all the Chicanos were. And wouldn't you know it, I was there too. So, but it was interesting because they came into town. I got a phone call first and they said, "We wondered if you want to audition for our show." I had no idea what show it was. It was Sesame Street. I had not watched it. And so I said, "Sure." So they said, "Okay, our producer is going to be in Los Angeles, wants to see you on blah, blah, blah." So I went. And here was this producer from Sesame Street, David Connell. Rest in peace, David.
Oh.
But anyway, he's sitting across the table from me, and at that time I had a mustache, right? And I was a Chicano, come on.
I love it.
So we talked for about 10, 15 minutes, and he asked me some questions about, if I spoke Spanish. Claro.
Yeah.
Sure. And then he kind of like got around to it, but the last thing that he asked me right before he said goodbye was, "Would you be willing to shave off your mustache?" And I said, I was staring at my last unemployment check. I said, "Of course!"
Yeah. PBS wasn't ready for a mustache.
The rest is history, yeah. The rest is history.
That's amazing. I grew up with this man. It is unbelievable to me to have him on our stage right now. It's such a pleasure.
And I swear to you that when I first came to New York, because that was the first time that job brought me to New York. I had never been here. I had never wanted to be here. I was a Hollywood actor. Come on. But I was the only Mexican in New York in 1971.
That's amazing. So Lauren, you are on a great deal of commercials right now. I wonder if you have any ridiculous commercial audition stories.
You know, I do.
That seemed like it was set up, but it really wasn't.
No, I actually just thought of a story that I feel like I have to tell
Please.
more than that.
Please do.
I lost a part to Mariah Carey.
You did.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a wonderful movie called Precious, and they were Mariah. I don't know if you remember. It was an amazing movie, but Mariah Carey played the guidance counselor, and initially they were going in a different direction, and they were kind of like nerdy, like new, bright-eyed guidance counselor, and things were going really well in the audition process, and I was getting excited, and then I got a call saying that, you know, Mariah Carey had accepted the offer. She's always taking my part.
That is spectacular. And we've got to sort of wrap up this section, but I wonder if you guys have any stories you care to share with us, Mr. Hildred.
I was just going to say I was up for the same Mariah Carey.
I'm always asked if I married a Latino man because my name is Valdes-aran.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder.
They never know if they say you don't look Korean enough, you don't look Japanese enough, you don't look Chinese enough.
Right. You don't look enough of what you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And it's worth pointing out that, so when we had rehearsal today, I asked all the actors to come up with their hysterically funny types that they read in the beginning of the show. And Ching, we were sitting in the dressing room and she said, you know, I booked both of those parts. Spectacular. You gotta get the paycheck eventually. All right, so it is time to address the subject of gender. Yeah. It's a thing that exists. Now, there are some truly wonderful roles out there for men.
Bryce, witty, tough, stoic. He's a stereotypically gruff cop, but he doesn't know he's blind, and neither do any of those around him.
Football player will be hung from the ceiling by a noose.
Anton is a personal trainer who is comfortable with himself and never flaunts the fact that he's in shape. He knows what he wants and goes after it with a confidence that never descends into a modesty or obnoxiousness.
Anton is imaginary.
Moobs. Man boobs. We need really good-looking man boobs.
Dustin, very handsome man with a full beard and long hair. He walks the line between hipster and hobo, but always looks good.
His beard says lice infested, but his mustache wax says trust fund. But things get more complicated when you're casting women. You get the sense that some of these projects are written in rooms filled with men who have never actually met a woman. It might sound something like this.
No, really.
No, wait, no, I got you got it? You got it?
I got one.
Okay.
Long, blonde hair. Attractive. Busty. Wearing a bikini.
No, wait. Brunette, attractive, busty, has a lot of spunk and style, wearing a bikini.
I got it.
What?
Black hair, attractive, busty, wearing a bikini and rocking it with confidence.
Okay, wait.
Or perhaps like this.
Okay. Raven, hot, LA party girl with tats and a body that drives men wild. She's perky, streetwise, and a total sensual being. One might think she's a hooker, but she's not. She is just an LA girl who loves nightlife, 420, and hot men to party with, all NSA style.
Mid-30s female, a sexy, no-nonsense doctor, nicknamed Dr. McSlutty.
Nippolina. Don't let the name fool you. An intelligent brunette, not a ditzy blonde.
Wait. We see a beautiful and exhilarating montage of Kelly and the Audi S4 zipping through the city lights of downtown, each zig and zag of the car seeming to have an arousing effect on Kelly. We see Kelly and her S4 approaching a tunnel in the distance. The driving intensifies, as does her classy but now quite palpable arousal level. Building. Finally, the car enters the tunnel. Time slows. Kelly's pupils dilate wide. The windshield wipers and fluid jolt to life. Kelly's face is orgasmic.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Sometimes I wonder what my feminist foremothers would think of it all.
Alex's mom, quiet and meek, she often seems to only serve as her husband's echo.
Kathy, gorgeous, the breadwinner in her marriage to Brad. She is successful and driven, which emasculates Brad.
Self-centered woman isn't able to act as a motherly figure because she has a job.
Do you see, Betty Friedan? Do you see what you did? You have to read breakdowns carefully as a woman. Sometimes the subtlety of the character is hidden in the breakdown's sentence structure.
Must read as a mom, but still full of vitality.
Eva, a woman who can play a strong personality and still be beautiful at the same time.
Vicky, she is intelligent, but at the same time, she is very sexy.
Ed Jones, half of a husband-wife law team. The wife wears the pants in this coupling, but Ed doesn't mind.
How munificent of Ed. What spectacular generosity of spirit. There's a lot we get to do as women. We can hate each other.
Dolores, former drug addict who begins an affair with her stepfather to infuriate her mother, whom she later murders.
Petite blonde, that is the secret arch enemy of her frumpy best friend.
We can be sexy.
Richmond's secretary. Typical stunning secretary. Nothing special about her except her appearance.
Susie, with breasts as big as her ambition. This motor-mouthed stewardess is determined to become an actress, even if it means sleeping to the top to do it.
We can die.
Caucasian woman to play young, attractive, nude woman who dies.
Danielle, attractive, smart, with a naturally warm personality. She is our victim. Actress must be willing to wear a plastic bag over her head. It will have holes.
And we can be sexy and die.
Sarah will be topless in 3 scenes, simulating oral sex in one, simulating sex with implied full nudity in one, hanging in gruesome stage death in the last.
And then there's this whole other breed of women's breakdowns.
Must have the shape of a Victoria's Secret model. Angelic facial features.
Her actual age is impossible to determine since her natural glow exudes an ageless quality.
Effortlessly smoking hot, sexy from within. Think Janis Joplin meets Pamela Anderson meets Drew Barrymore.
I assume they all meet in rehab.
A very sensual and perfect woman. Beautiful, magical, powerful, sublime.
Must be very sexy, jaw-droppingly beautiful. Should hurt to look at.
Morgan Wheeler, of immaculate beauty, supple porcelain skin, lusciously pouted lips, wide and refreshingly dewy eyes. Morgan is a tall, breathtaking brunette, statuesque in her physique, and unwavering in her natural finesse. She simply exudes a delicate sensuality in her appearance, through her wardrobe, her attitude, all tailored to promote her as an object of lust.
I feel about the women who must submit themselves to these projects the way I feel about women whose thighs don't touch one another when they walk. I'm not mad at you, I'm just trying to understand. Because the kind of breakdowns I submit to sound more like this.
Woman, 30s. A solid farmer type. A woman with sturdiness.
Guys, I got this. I did have that too. As a solid, sturdy woman, I am well aware that actors' bodies are their temples, no matter what their shape and size, and everyone has to know where they fit.
Juicy, plump, sexy, average height with a face.
Musician, lead male, musician build.
Female models with a C+ breast size.
All those years of being an A student, and now all I'm wanted for are my C+.
Any ethnicity, male, super skinny, manorexic, must be comfortable wearing S&M mask, ball gag, and being whipped in a seductive way.
Little person, dwarf, for a small scene in a comedy webisode. Small speaking role.
Go ahead, say small one more time.
D cup and A cup, females, supporting. D cup has strong facial features, busty. A cup is D cup's shy counterpart.
Talent must be comfortable shirtless, exposing their bellies. Bellies should be attractive in a relatable and friendly, down-to-earth way. Cannot see anyone with bellies that appear too large, or too thin, or too muscular, and too toned.
Hipster, perpetually 29, female, Caucasian, thin, but open to different looks.
Different looks, like thin girl next door, thin exotic but approachable, and thin. Now that we've established your look and your demographics, we'll take a look at how to navigate yourself through these breakdowns, what projects are available to you, and what directors have to say to you. But before we do that...
Asian females who are familiar with twerking.
Seriously, Greg. Sorry, again. Where was I? So I wanted to take another moment to bring up a fellow actor who is poking fun at our industry. He originated the role of Crutchy in the Broadway cast of Newsies and is the creator and director of the hit web series Submissions Only. Please help me welcome Andrew Keenan Bolger. join me on a mic.
How's it going?
How are you?
Doing well.
So I would love for anyone in the audience, anyone possibly in the audience who does not know Submissions Only, if you could tell us a little bit about your project.
Oh, sure. It is a musical, or not even a musical. It's a web series about the trips and falls of auditioning for New York theater.
Nice, excellent. And what made you decide to put this together?
I think like most people who have creative impulses, I was unemployed. And I was returning to the city after a regional theater job, and I didn't have a job. So I met with Kate Weatherhead, who is my co-creator on the
awesome.
project, who's a rock star.
Yeah.
And is like the main girl in it. And we were doing a show in Dallas. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. And we were both moving back to the city without jobs, and that's when just the creative juices started flowing, and we really had no idea what we were doing, but we went ahead and wrote a pilot script.
That's terrific. And you guys are now BroadwayWorld.com
Indeed,
supported, right?
yes, BroadwayWorld.com. We just had our final episode of season 3.
Ah, Mazel Tov.
Thank you.
Yes. So I wonder, because you've had some phenomenal roles, and you've also had not roles, so that you then created Submissions Only. I wonder if you have any ridiculous casting stories or anecdotes for us.
Oh, sure. You know, when we were doing Submissions Only, a lot of people ask us, because every episode begins with like a cold open of an audition, and it's all sort of existing only within that episode. You don't have to like watch the one before it to know what's going on. And a lot of people are always asking us if any of them are based on true stories,
Yes.
which a lot of them are stories that people have told to us. And one in particular I had sort of been sitting on for a couple years that happened to me when I was a little child actor. I was 12 years old, and my mom, this sounds so depressing, my mom had cancer at the time. And I was going in for the role of a kid who got in a car accident with his mom, and his mom died, and he had to like cradle her dead body and improv for like an infinite number of until they were done with me improving. So I was like, okay, well this is like hitting a little close to home right now, but yeah, I'll do it. And I made up things like, Mom, you gotta get up, like basically taking lines from like the Lion King of like Simba with like Mufasa's dead body mostly. And I improv this for like about a minute and a half, and then I finished, and I was like fully, like actually going through a cathartic real moment. And the casting director goes, I am so sorry, the tape ran out like 3 seconds into that, so could you just do that one more time for us?
I actually just watched that episode yesterday, and I was like, there's no way this could really have happened.
That totally happened to me. So I got to exercise it cathartically into an episode of Submissions Only, so it's all good now, guys.
Your therapist must have been so proud.
Oh, sure.
And so you were in Newsies. You were in the
Yes.
original cast of Newsies. What was the process like for that? I mean, I know Broadway calls,
Yeah.
you're going back and you're going back and you're going back. You're seeing the same guy auditioning at the same time as
Yeah.
you. Like, what was that process like?
Well, Newsies was an interesting one because it's the cast of the most ridiculous dancers I've ever seen, and I am not one of them. And so I knew I had done the readings playing the role of Crutchy, but they were like, we need to like actually have you come in and like audition for this. And so I had to go to like the final dance call with all these like amazing guys and just be so terrible. But they deemed that I was a good enough dancer to dance with one leg, so I got them.
You're just good enough to dance with one
Yes,
leg.
yes.
That is amazing. And so do you go out on commercial? I know, for those of you who are not actors, commercial auditions tend to be the more ridiculous auditions that you go on.
Oh, sure.
Do you go out for a lot of commercials?
No, I only go out for commercial auditions if they're one of 3 characters. A jockey, a bellhop, and a pizza delivery boy. Those are the only 3 I've gone on. So
But did you book it?
I booked the jockey!
Do you have to actually ride a horse, or do you just stand
No.
next to the horse?
No, it was a weird one. It was during the like, or not the Kentucky Derby. What was it? The Belmont Stakes this year. So I had to be a jockey with a breathe right strip, sleeping, but in a jockey costume.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's spectacular. That's awesome. Unfortunately, we are running late, but thank you so much for coming to talk to us. Submissions only, please check it out. It is hysterically funny. And if you are not in the business and you want to find out more about what we go through, please watch Submissions Only. You will get quite an education. Thank you so much.
Of course.
So now that we've figured out your type, let's look at what's available to you out there. Sometimes directors or producers will be very explicit with what they're looking for, talking to you straight from the breakdown.
Well, my directing style is not to give the full character description to the actors. I first let the actors act what they think. I can read how they analyze story and the character, and then I begin to have a conversation with the actors.
This is a serious student project. If you're even unsure whether the shooting date fits you or not, or if there is even a little possibility for you not to show up on the shooting day somehow, then do not submit yourself to this project.
Hooker. Description. She's a hooker. Need I say more? Wardrobe. Pumps, 2 short shorts, 2 tight tank. Rate, meal, credit, copy, chance to redeem yourself.
You can't make this shit up. You do occasionally run into some language trouble. Not everyone seems to have a vice grip on the English language.
Anne, a new nun from the church, looks beautiful and she can use her eyes to say the lines. Circumspective and sensitive. She gonna have non-uniform and also needs special makeup for aging.
Hey, using your eyes to say the lines worked for Diving Bell and the Butterfly. It could work here too.
Lauren Lee. Unlike the futuristic world that they live in, Lauren is not very tech shabby. Lauren enjoys simple technology like non-digital clocks, hand cooking, reading paper-paged books, and even owning a record player.
Redheads must be willing to mud wrestle and dancing fun and mayhem.
Looking for your stereotypical hefty Oprah singer.
Hey, first she had her own Starbucks chai, now she has her own vocal style. But if you can get past the language barrier, breakdowns can be incredibly helpful. They explain what to wear.
Candace is a fingerprint specialist with prescription glasses.
Trophy woman will be painted gold, like a statue or trophy. Genitalia will be covered and painted over.
Featured females must be comfortable wearing tight G-strings.
As opposed to those loose, comfy, around-the-house G-strings. Sometimes breakdowns will even offer performance advice.
Lead girl, love interest. Acting will be required.
Emily will be required to cry, straight bawling, mad ugly.
Cafe patrons, male and female actors, any ethnicity, who have the ability to sit in a cafe and drink coffee. You must be capable of sitting in a chair and drinking coffee. If you cannot drink coffee, art department can put water in your cup and you can drink water. But you must be able to act like you are drinking coffee while sitting down. Please list any prior experience sitting and drinking you may have.
That was from last week, and that's from an MTV show. So that's very real.
Accent. What did ancient Egypt sound like? Not like modern America. We're going for a more old world sound, which will likely require the use of a British accent.
Actress should have a clear speaking voice, be able to shift tones between calm, firm, and yelling. Strong facial expressions and body language are very important.
So the actress should be an actress. So you've got your type, you've got your acting advice, and your wardrobe. Now let's find you some projects.
Shoot a web promo for a new beverage called Ghost Pea. An all-natural health beverage with a playful sense of humor.
We are going to be making a gushingly gorgeous neo-noir film. The 3 producers will be taking turns directing and DPing. The film involves nudity and a classy scene of lovemaking between the 2 female leads. It will be full-on nudity. This isn't exploitative or pornographic, but something more akin to European cinema where nudity isn't a big deal.
So aside from the revolting use of the word gushingly, somehow the image of 3 20-something males, I looked them up on Facebook, taking turns staring into a camera at 2 naked women does feel just a scotch exploitative. By the way, money isn't always free-flowing on these projects.
$25 per day and on-set snacks.
Only paying $10. Credit and real. Please, do not submit if you require more money.
What if I require more dignity?
Disney commercial, non-union.
Times are tough when even the mouse won't pay union wages. But don't worry, money isn't everything.
Appearance in this festival practically guarantees future theatrical roles. And both agents and theater reviewers will attend these performances, therefore it promises great exposure. No pay.
I keep asking my landlord if she'll accept exposure this month, but she never agrees. If you're an improviser, you might even get to multitask on set.
Actress needs great improv skills to fully develop this character.
To fully develop this character or to fully develop the script you're too lazy to write?
Must have improv chops and open to direction. You will be given plot points and an outline, but dialogue will be mostly improvised.
That's great. What's your pay scale for authorship?
Because this is a mockumentary, much of your contributions will come from improvisation. Preference goes to those who have locations we would be able to film at as well. No pay.
Writing, acting, and sheltering, all for the privilege of being in a non-union film. Do you want me to buy you lunch too?
Seeking man crying silently and simulating a hand job.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Actually, Greg, thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
That's a good segue. It's almost like I wrote it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the moment in the show that I know you've all been waiting for. It is time to play America's favorite game show, Surprise Porn! Amazing. All right, the rules of the game are simple. We'll read you some breakdowns where things are all well and good until suddenly, surprise, we've found ourselves lying on the velvet couch. Now, your job, nice light change. I love it, Jason. That's amazing. Yeah, he asked me if I had any specific light things, and I was like, well, there's this one part we talk about porn, it could get moody. So, this is where we are. So your job is simple. When you think you've heard the change, shout out surprise porn as loud as you can. I'll give you an easy one to practice.
Eric, the cute boy next door, had a secret crush on Lisa until she reciprocates his feelings.
All right, I'm gonna need it to be better than that. There it is. I knew you guys were out there. All right, well done. So here we go. Don't miss out on the fun. Yell as loud as you can.
Laura is a stunningly beautiful bipolar woman who has been having therapy sessions with Dr. Clark for 1 year. He doesn't know, but she has an obsession of her own about which the good doctor will soon find out.
Seeking a woman who is incredible in what she does with her hands.
Sarah, determined to overcome her self-consciousness, but reserved. Note, she is receiving a massage for the majority of the play.
Girl on Craig's lap. In shape, very attractive, perky, bubbly, appealing. Should be open and flexible to new and different concepts should they arise on set.
Seeking real, beautiful couples of all races. All must ride a mechanical bull.
Candy is the kind of woman who would trade a ride in a Lamborghini for a blowjob. The scene does not call for nudity, but does require that Candy simulate a blowjob to the main character in the Lamborghini. Trashy, sexy, dirty.
I mean, it's not really a surprise at that point, is it? All right, well.
Hot hippie types comfortable with simulated foreplay. Females comfortable squatting, peeing on sidewalk. Drivers for a fun traffic jam scene. Female comfortable blowing her nose on camera.
All right. Enough. I hope over the course of this evening that we have helped you gain a better sense of where you fit into this business, even if certain breakdown authors play fast and loose. With stereotypes and pigeonholes. And now, because no evening of theater would be surprise party. It's the pigeonholes that get you every time. And now, because no evening of theater would be complete without suddenly breaking into song, please turn your attention to Jersey Jung and Michael Askin to lead us in a rousing chorus of everyone's favorite tune, Know Your Type.
Then you could play a masseuse able-bodied, straight white man. Shit, this world's your oyster then. You're an action hero, cowboy, president, spaceman. And you can date any young girls that you please. It's sanctioned by society. 'Cause ladies your same age all play your mother.
Bitchy resting face. Doctors are working on a cure.
Thank you all so much for coming tonight. Let's hear it again for Nick Westray, valdes-aran, Greg Mildred, Laura Rosenberg, Emilio Mercado, Amber Gray, Jersey John, Michael Askin. And a few special thanks. Thank you to Andrew Queen and Boulder. Thank you to Amanda DeQuilla, Jesse Alick, Shanta, Alex Benjamin, John, Jason, everyone at Joe's Pub in the Public Theater, Patrick Ross up in the booth, Jen Holtman for all her hard work on the show over the last 8 weeks. The whole Tumblr community, and of course, the 52nd Street Project. Please check out 52project.org if you want to help inspire the next generation of theater artists, breakdown authors, and diverse voices. Volunteer there. Many of us on this stage do. Donate there. They are a fantastic organization doing amazing work. And let's do one last chorus of Know Your Type.
All right, guys, join us for that ba-ba-ba-ba section.
Got it.
One more time. Everybody, woo-hoo, know your type. Yes, sir, honey, it's fine, don't fight it. Oh, you gotta know your type. Woo-hoo, know your type. We all got one that fits just right, so baby, you must know your type.
I do have one more breakdown. So for those of you who have followed the Tumblr from the very beginning, you may remember this one. It was declared early on as the worst notice ever to appear on my blog, and still remains the gold standard on Cast and Loose. Shout it out if you can guess who it is.
Ashlyn, hand gestures.
Hand gestures? Oh, that's Ashlyn. You got it. You nailed it. Yep. So Ashlyn, get ready. I'm going to read this one myself. Ashlyn, female, age 20, any race, athletic, more hourglass figure to skinny build, and any hair or eye color. The world stops when Ashlyn wakes up. Girls as pretty as her really shouldn't be that sweet. She's nice and gentle, as well as an absolute knockout. She's always smiling and doing cute little tics, like brushing her hair out of her face or cupping her hands in excitement. A true girly girl, she will not exit the house in anything other than trendy, classy, and flavorful clothes, maxing out on little charms and accessories. She keeps her makeup very natural, mostly because she doesn't need any extra help, but also because she doesn't really see her most beautiful features, having the luxury of a lot of them. Her cute demeanor almost makes you hate her more, because if she was gorgeous and acted like it, at least she would fulfill this stereotype, but she avoids it and instead just stands as a very unique and truly nice girl. I'm just gonna let that one linger like a sneaky fart. Thank you all so much for coming. This has been an absolute blast. Everyone, what an amazing cast. Thank you guys so